Okay, so we take a look at this, and you say like, "Oh, this is very easy. I do this, and you don't need to see the video." Okay, I'm done. All right, that's it. I'm lying. So let's take a look at this free response question. So we got this graph, and it says the graph of f. I'm just like looking at it. I'm just glancing at things. I'm not even reading stuff. This is a graph of f. So this thing is f. All right. And it's continuous. No, I can see that. You don't need to tell. On -4 to 3, okay, consisting of 3 line segments and a semicircle centered at the origin. Okay, that's a semicircle. Let g be the function given. Ooh, an integral. G is the int. Oh, this is my hint that I'm gonna use a fundamental theorem of calculus. Like, if I ever have an integral set up perfectly for the fundamental theorem of calculus, I'm probably gonna use a fundamental theorem of calculus. So, it says let g be the function given by the integral from 1 to x of f of t dt. Okay, find the values of g of 2 and g of -2. So let's do that. I will do it over here. G of 2. Well, they give me a function for g. It's right there. And that says to take the integral from 1 to the x value, which would be 2 of f of t.
Wait a minute, what does this mean? This means you gotta find the area under the curve from 1 to 2. That's all we're doing here. That's the area under the curve from 1 to 2. From 1 to 2. And some people are thinking like, well, what is that point right there? I don't know. I need to know what it is, but I don't know. I can make an equation for this line.
I can make an equation for that line, though. How could I do that? How could I possibly do that? Well, I mean, that is going to be a line. It is going to have a negative slope. The slope is, I could just count it. Rise, looks like 1, right? Rise 1, run 2. So that slope is -1/2. Or you can just use the slope formula or whatever. Plus b. There's a b value. What I don't know where does it hit the x-axis? Does it hit perfectly? I don't know. But I do know that this point is on the line, so I can just plug in that for x and that for y, and then solve, and then I get my b value. So I'm trying to find a b value right now. Times 3 plus b. So I'll add 3 over 2 plus 3 over 2. What is this? The -1, that's like -2 over 2, right? -2 over 2. So I get -1/2. Oh no, +1/2. B equals +1/2. So my equation for this line is y equals -1/2. This is getting messy. 1/2 x plus 1/2. So that's for that line. And I wanted to know what this point was. So what is plug in 1, 2? Plug in 2, what do I get? I get, well, if I plug in 2, I get, that's -2 over 2 plus 1/2. That's just positive. No, -1/2. Right? Okay. So that means this point right here is at 2, -1/2. So now I can find the area of this by getting the area of the triangle, because it's a triangle, right? Because that's what that represents. Hoo-wee! This is pretty cool to me. Maybe not to you, because you're not a math teacher. Maybe it is cool to you, and you're still not a math teacher. So what do we have? We have 1/2 times the base, which is just 1. And times the height, which was 1/2. 1/2. Okay. So that's 1/4. But I know what you're thinking. It's like, wait a minute, isn't it below the x-axis? So doesn't that make it negative? You're right. You sure are right. So that should be -1/4. That's the first part. That's the first answer. G of 2 equals -1/4. Now what about G of -2, huh? What do we do there? Well, G of -2 That one, we do the integral from, I think is 1 to -2. That's weird. It's backwards. Okay. That's not a problem. I know how to fix that. Make it negative, and then flip it around. -2. Now it's better. Just so I can think about it more properly. So that's the area from -2 to 1. What is that? -2, 1, 2, -2, that area, all the way till here. So plus that. Ooh, that's a semicircle. It told us that it was a semicircle. All right, so don't forget about that negative out there, though, because like I'm looking at this now, and then at the end I'll put on that negative. So from negative, well, what is this? Looks like it has a height of 3, and then a base of just 1. So that's 1/2. Well, we'll put the negative out front. 1/2 times, what was it? Height of 3, base of 1. So 1 is 3. And then I also need to add in the area of the semicircle. Well, that has a radius of 1. So pi r squared divided by 2, remember. But it's also negative because it's below the x-axis. This is below the x-axis. And then, so like this negative will make it a positive area. That's interesting. So then we have, what is it, pi r squared. The radius was 1, so it's just pi times 1 squared, which is 1, divided by 2. Ooh. Right? Really, you don't need to keep going, but this is just -3/2 plus pi over 2. That's actually what g of -2 is. Right? Because we just evaluated that. This is the integral. Did we put the negative on properly? I think so. Did we answer all of that question? I don't know. What did it say? Find those values. Okay, done. On the scoring guide, I think each of those were worth 1 point. The whole free response questions are worth 9 points. So I think 1 point there, 1 point there, probably 1 point there, 1 point there. What else? What was that? 4, 2 points for this, maybe? We'll get to it when we get to it, huh?